Greetings and assalamu alaikum everyone. Hope you all are doing great. Welcome to another video. This is your host Munib. In this video, I'm going to cover the Google Cloud VPC topic. So in the last few videos, I have covered the AWS VPC. So this time I will be covering Google Cloud topics like VPC, Compute Engine, App Engine, Cloud Run, Cloud SQL, and Cloud Storage. So the first topic of Google Cloud, which I will be covering in this video, will be Google VPC. So as you already know what VPC stands for, so VPC stands for Virtual Private Cloud. So basically in VPC, we create our own network, and in our own network we create subnets, gateways, routers, and firewalls. Okay, if I give you an example in simple words, that consider the example of apartment. In apartment, how many rooms are there, and you can consider room as a subnet, and who can enter into your room. So that would be firewall rules, and where the rooms connect. So this is, you can consider it as a routing example. So if you talk about the component of Google Cloud VPC, so the first component is subnet, IP ranges, firewall, and route. Okay. So you can see the description that I have written down, that subnet, you can consider the example of subnet as a room in your flat. You can have multiple subnets in multiple regions. Another benefit of Google Cloud VPC is that we can create a global VPC having multiple subnets in multiple regions. I will explain in a few minutes. Okay, so this is the very important topic or concept that in Google Cloud we have global VPC. So the concept of global VPC is that we can create a global VPC, and inside global VPC we can have multiple subnets in multiple regions. For example, if you create a subnet, so that subnet you can create in North America in Toronto region, you can create another subnet in Iowa region, third subnet in Berlin region, fourth subnet in Sydney region, and fifth subnet in Doha region. So you have flexibility and diversified options, so you can create multiple subnet in multiple region. Yes, you can see this line that these subnets can talk to each other privately using Google's fast fiber network, which is available and ready to use worldwide. So there is no need for the internet. Okay, so that's the most beneficial feature which is available in Google Cloud VPC. So, does VPC require routing? Yes, routing is required for traffic to know where to go, even inside a VPC. So, we create routing for internal traffic between subnets, or you can send any data to the internet or connecting to your on premises to your Google Cloud data center via VPN or interconnect. Okay, so in these cases, yes, we require routing. So Google creates default route automatically, but you can create and configure your own custom route if needed. If you talk about the benefits, so it provides security, of course. You can create and isolate and secure cloud network for your cloud workloads. For example, if you want to run your compute server like Windows or Linux server, so you can provision those resources in a secured network, which will be your custom created network. Okay. So you have a full control. You can manage what traffic will be allowed in or out, or you can allow some ports or all traffic along with the port and IP restriction. Depends upon the use case, or if you have a secure environment. So in that case, you have a full control to either allow or deny any specific or a full-fledged CIDR block. Yes, it provides a global reach, one VPC, multiple region, no need for VPNs between them. In AWS, we require multiple VPNs in order to establish a connection between multiple regions. So that's a drawback, or that's a limitation in AWS. Whereas in GCP, it provides us global reach or span between multiple regions. If we talk about performance, so it uses Google's high-speed private fiber. So it is not public internet basically. Yeah, scalability wise, you can easily add more subnets and resources as your application grows, or if you require further subnets or further resources to be provisioned on your cloud network, so you can use the GCP scalability, and it also provides scalability to enhance and add more subnets as per needed. So if you talk about in summarized point, so Google VPC is like your private cloud network. It gives you security, control, and flexibility. You can have global subnets in one VPC. Routing is essential, but Google helps manage it. Yes, it provides two type of routing. One is default and other is custom. So the default routes is automatically created, so you don't need to create it for default purpose. Yes, you can create your own custom route if needed. So that's the theoretical topic of Google Cloud VPC. And let's jump into Google Cloud Console and create VPC. So right now I'm inside Google Cloud dashboard. So let me just type VPC and let's create a new VPC. Okay, as you can see that inside VPC network, we have multiple VPCs. So in order to create a new VPC, click on create VPC network. So right now I'm giving name as tag with Munib VPC. Okay, we need to be more careful while giving a name tag because it does not support capital letters. So we need to give a proper name tag in lowercase letters. So for description, let's give it name as this is for tag with Munib TCP resources. And subnet creation, you can either go with the custom. So the benefit of selecting custom will be so you can add more subnets and you can create more subnets in multiple region. If you select the automatic, so yes, it will give you these type of region and IP address ranges. So let's go with the custom option and we can create 1, 2, and 4. So for demo purpose, I will be creating 4 subnet. Okay. So in subnet 1, let's give it name as public subnet 1 and region. Okay, let me just give it a name, public subnet 1, and I will be selecting region Toronto. And one more benefit that GCP provides is you can have multiple different CIDR blocks. So for creating a subnet in Toronto region, let's give it IP ranges at 172.16.0.0/24. And you can select options like private Google access, flow logs. You can enable flow logs to monitor the traffic between VPCs. Okay, so I'm okay with it and then done. Let's create another subnet called public subnet 2. And I will be selecting for example, as you can see, it has categorized the regions. In Americas, you can select North America, US, Central, East, West. In Europe side, you have different options. And in Middle East and in Asia Pacific, so you can select your desired subnets, regions for subnet creation. So let's go with the, let's say, US East 1. And I will be giving as the IP ranges as 10.0.0.24. Done. Okay, I have created 2 public subnet. So let's create a private subnet, okay, for demo purpose. So private subnet 01. Okay. Okay, so I have given the name and let's select the region of Europe. So I will be selecting Berlin and I will be giving the IP range as 192.168.12.0/24. Okay, done. And I will be selecting creating new private subnet 02 with the same IP ranges but in a different region. So I will be selecting Melbourne and let's give it a private range as 192.168.84.0/24 and done. Okay, so the subnets have been created and let's, okay, in firewall rules, either you can select all these predefined, already configured firewall rules, or you can create your custom firewall rule. So I'm going to skip this part because I will create a separate firewall rule in this video. So let's wait for a few minutes. Okay, advanced dynamic routing configure. If you go with the region, so cloud routers will run routes only in the region in which they were created. If you select the global, so global routing lets you dynamically route from all region. Okay, so I'm going with this regional option and then create. So it is creating tag with VPC. So as you can see, it is provisioning the VPC along with the subnets in multiple regions. So hardly it will take a few minutes to provision. Once this thing provision, I will jump into the firewalls. Okay. So as you can see that the VPC is now created successfully. And if I go into my VPC, so let's jump into the subnet section. So you will see that the region and the primary IPv4 ranges that I have given, it is still showing in the subnet section. So let's sort it in a good way so we can understand it clearly. So the first private region, private subnet, it's located in Australia, Sydney region. This private subnet one is located in Europe, Berlin region. This subnet, public subnet, is available in Toronto, and this subnet is can be used in uh, South Carolina region. So that's the benefit of using global VPC, having multiple subnets in multiple region. Okay, so let's go into firewall and let's just create a different custom firewall rule. So go to create firewall rule, and I'm going to give name as Equate Munir firewall FR. FR stands for firewall rule, and let's select my own VPC. And okay, one more thing you have to make sure and be careful. The firewall rule works on tags. Whatever the tag you will be giving, so you should remember while creating a database or while creating a compute engine server. So that tag will be called in the firewall rule section. So let's give it a name as tag with Munib HTTP, and I'm giving all traffic cider block, and TCP would be selecting TCP, and I'm giving port as port 80 and create. And let's create to another firewall rule so it will be clear to you. Okay, so the firewall rule is now created. Let's create another firewall rule that with Munib firewall rule for remote MSDSC. MSDSC is a short terminology for remote desktop connection if you want to access Windows Server. Okay, so right now I'm creating firewall rule for Windows Server. So regardless of the firewall name, you should remember the target tags. Okay, so okay, let me just select tag with Munib VPC, and I'm giving name as tag with Munib Windows MSDSC. Okay, and you can create a short name or a longer name, depends on you. And source IP ranges would be from all traffic, and I will be giving S3389, which is a default port of Windows Server, and then create. Okay, so right now I'm creating another firewall rule for HTTPS, or you can create for Linux server. Okay, so type with Munib Linux SSH, and I will be selecting type with Munib VPC, and target tag would be type with Munib Linux SSH, and IP ranges as usual would be from anywhere, and I will give 22. This is the SSH port in order to access Linux server, and then create. So this is the overall demo of creating VPC, subnets, and firewall rule. And inshallah, in upcoming video, when I will be covering the bash and host topic in GCP, so I will then explain in order to give internet access to private server, how we can create cloud net and cloud router. Okay, so stay tuned for that. And I will be covering additional topics of AWS, GCP, and DevOps in future. So thank you so much, everyone, and take good care of yourself and your loved ones.